I have a question. Tell me, what is this sound? Is it A, a garbage disposal, B, a rumbly fart, or C, a deathcore vocalist? If you answered C, then you would be correct. And if you answered A or B, you're normie trash and should get the fuck out. Just playing. Deathcore is kind of a hit and miss genre for me. Like quote unquote normal death metal, there's a high amount of bands that just sound like a copy paste of another. Everybody trying to be as brutal and extreme as possible, to a point of diminishing returns and substandard quality. But I feel the genre has been seeing a resurgence in recent years. The OGs of deathcore have been exploring new ways to be heavy, and fresh blood bands have been making a name for themselves and gaining fan bases large enough to rival the genre's legacy acts. That fresh blood is well represented in my top albums of the year for this genre. But before we get into who made it, let's go over some honorable mentions, or snubs if you want to be a dick about it. The biggest omission here is easily Whitechapel, not due to a lack of quality, but because their new album Kin experiments so heavily outside the genre, I felt it wouldn't be accurate to consider it a deathcore record. Fear not though, they'll be featured on my top 20 metal albums of the year list coming real soon. Brand of Sacrifice also missed the cut. Despite being one of deathcore's biggest hype acts right now, I was not fond of their Lifeblood record at first. I thought it lacked the dynamics and was a prime example of try-hard extremity when I first listened to it back in March. But I've grown to respect the record and have been able to find the value in some of the riff work and production creativity. Carnifex deserves a shout out for Graveside Confessions, a strong effort and a testament to their consistency and longevity. Another popular one from this year is Signs of the Swarm's Absolvir, which you might as well call my number 6 deathcore album of the year, standing as a bright addition to the band's discography despite a harrowing year of lineup changes. Now without further ado, let's get into my main list. Number 5. Heavy metal often gets stereotyped as a genre that's only about death, destruction, anger, and aggression. But there's plenty of metal out there brimming with lyrical depth and motivational inspiration. Songs that tell fantastical stories, or explore the human condition, or otherwise explore positivity through song. This album is not that. Suck my fucking dick! The Ignorance is the second full-length album from North Carolina band Filth, and their sound is more than fitting of such a moniker. They first came on my radar last year with their single Hell, and their following self-titled EP, and they execute slamming deathcore with an in-your-face aggression and catchy dynamic riff work. What really helps set them apart is the versatility of frontman Dustin Mitchell, having a skill to seamlessly transition from powerful growls, hardcore shouts, and raspy fry screams. It's easy to mistake the band having multiple vocalists, and avoids the monotone nature a lot of slam-adjacent metal vocalists suffer from. If you like your metal chest-beatingly aggro, groovy, with vitriol for dessert, Filth's The Ignorance is the album for you. Number 4. Nu metal has been creeping into deathcore ever since the genre's earlier heyday, and it's not too hard to see why. Both genres have an affinity for extended range, down-tuned guitars with a focus on aggressive, punchy riffs, and Kentucky's Until the Dead Walk brings some nu metal groove into deathcore's extremity. Their new record, oddly titled Untitled, brings a degree of fun into deathcore with their high-energy, dual vocalist attack and bouncy riffs. And tracks like Turning 23, Bonesaw, and Slappuccino are sure to get pits moving. Also, they're produced by Chelsea Grin's drummer Pablo, which also doesn't hurt. Number 3. Deathcore being the genre of maximum brutality that fans want it to be, it's not surprising the idea of melodic vocals entering the genre gained ire from fans. Get that weak metalcore shit out of here. However, aside from Suicide Silence, Bands have been experimenting with vocal melody to success. Whitechapel's 3 most recent records have been highly praised for it. Shadow of Intent has had songs with the pitched screaming approach, and even bands like Slaughter to Prevail and Signs of the Swarm have had dashes here and there. But I haven't heard it used as extensively in the genre as done by Long Island, New York band Monochromatic Black, and their debut full-length Vicissitude blends melodic vocals into the mix as much as most melodic metalcore acts. But their riffs and heavy sections are undoubtedly death metal influence, with plenty of hardcore chugs and breakdowns. And their frontwoman, Tanya Beckert, will remind many of Ginger's Tatiana with her versatility, going from gothic-tinged melodic vocals to slam-worthy growls and screams with an ease not easily matched. Definitely a band to watch who I'm predicting to be a leader of the genre with another release or two. Number 2. In deathcore, the ethos is usually faster, harder, thicker, brutaler. But what truly makes a song stick for most people is how memorable the instrumentation and songwriting is. And that's the approach Left to the Wolves go with on their record Inherent Regression. Taking the dark atmosphere and tremolo-picked guitar work of Black and deathcore, they use that aesthetic for a riff-focused style of songwriting, keeping the heavy, groovy nature of deathcore with the guitar lines that you can hum the melodies of. This approach makes the band more instantly accessible than most without sacrificing heaviness, and makes their music stick in your head quicker than the average deathy band. They also have one of my favorite breakdowns I've heard all year in their song Cult of the War Dog, which has been a playlist staple for me since its release. Number 1. So here we are at my pick for number 1 deathcore album of the year. This band has been constantly improving and evolving ever since they came on the scene. And with this latest record, they combine all the positive elements of the previous 4 albums on this list. Direct aggression, catchy bouncy riffs, explorations of melody, songwriting first mentality. And that record is Kostolom by Slaughter to Prevail. Not a surprising pick for Deathcore Album of the Year, and that's because despite the immense hype the band has had their whole career, they've consistently met and exceeded the hype that surrounds them. Another band that hasn't been afraid of adding new metal elements to their sound, their experimentation has taken their sound to the next level with hits like Baba Yaga, Agony, and Demolisher. Quality creative guitar work, song arrangement, and the charismatic vocals and presence of frontman Alex Terrible have led the band to reach the top of the modern deathcore pack, and it will be exciting to see where they go on future releases. And that's my list. What was your favorite deathcore album of the year? Who did I miss that should have been on the list? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the Heavy Haystack YouTube channel if you want to see more videos similar to this one. Peace, love, music, and I'll see y'all next time.